Good morning, my sisters. I'm so sorry I'm late. Good morning, Melissa. Good morning, Mathura. Giri, Chairadika, welcome. Please forgive me for being late, a few minutes late. I was interviewing Swarup Damodar on our Dove and Krishna channel. Girish is here. I'm just waiting for her to send me a video request and we can get straight into it. Welcome to the Women's Collective South Africa's How I Met My Sister series. Welcome, Bush. Welcome, Surabi. Oh, okay.
Is this working?
Well, Giri, I can hear you.
Oh.
Oh, yes, now I can see you. Hey,
Hey, am I
welcome.
audible?
Welcome.
Thank you.
So just before you got on, Yogi says, Yogeshwari was saying that she can't wait to hear from you. Welcome, Girisha, to How I Met My Sisters. Of
Thank you
course,
so
you
much.
are my sister, my little sister. Um,
Thank you.
for those of you
Soul
that don't
sister.
know, huh?
Soul sister.
So for those of you that don't know, Giri and I actually do service together. We serve in the Bhakti Theatre, which is a completely topic and universe on its own. Giri, thank you so much for agreeing to do this with us. And for those of you that may not know, Girisha is a multi-talented devotee who has actually used all the things Krishna has blessed her with, all her talents in his service. That is something that I can say. And I just have to throw this in, Giri. You make the most beautiful, cutest Krishna ever. And she's acted as Krishna from when she's been a little girl to an adult. And she's
That was my first devotional service actually ever that I can recall. The first devotional service that I've ever done at like 5, 6 years old was baby Krishna. And that's when I met
I
you.
remember that. I remember that. Because I
Yeah.
looked at you and thought, oh my God, this is the most perfect Krishna I've ever seen in my life.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So Giri, you've also been born into Krishna consciousness and always practiced Krishna consciousness. So I'm going to ask the question because I think that we cannot hear enough versions of this. And
Mhm.
I want to ask you, why do you choose bhakti?
Good start. Well, I want to kind of hone in, His Grace Saurabh Damodar's energy because I just caught the last like 5 minutes from there. But there's something that he said in one of his classes that I was thinking about while he was speaking, and he's so inspirational. But one of the things that he said that stuck with me is that we're all holding hands and walking each other home. And I was discussing this with another friend of mine. I think she's here today as well. But um, it's such a beautiful concept, and that is why I choose bhakti every time, because I always have people holding my hand and taking me to the right place and the right path. You know, I mean, there's just so many amazing examples. Of course, you are one of them, Rasa-sthali, that I've never felt more included, more myself when I'm practicing bhakti. And kind of every question that I've had about life, about God, about, everything, I find it in bhakti. And I feel that if I was not practicing bhakti yoga, I wouldn't know how to actually, I wouldn't even have known that I had these talents, that I had these gifts. And I've only discovered it through this process. So I think it's growth, it's discovering myself. And so that's why I guess I choose it every time because I've never felt alone. I always know that there's someone that's there that's going to hold my hand whenever I fall down, that's going to pick me up and keep walking with me. And I don't know, I just always thought that that was a beautiful concept. Yeah.
Never being alone. That is an amazing thing. I love that you reminding us about that. Um, I think with the pandemic, we start to feel ourselves in little pockets, and just that reminder is so
Yeah.
heartwarming to hear. So Giri, I actually, if I were to use one word to describe you, I would say artist. And
Okay.
and I think, okay, maybe you'd use a different word, but I'd say artist, and specifically an artist with many facets because you can dance, you can sing, you can play musical instruments, you can act, you can you can draw and paint. So you are very much in that artistic field. But for me, an artist is somebody who is able to transform emotions into beauty.
Wow.
And
I need to
and
write that down. Yeah.
and when I of course, as I said, we've been serving together, and I've seen you in Bhakti Theatre in so many different capacities, writing, directing, music selection, and so many things. And I keep thinking of this one performance you did where you were this ghat keeper, and you clean the ghat and invite devotees to come and bathe there. And
Hmm.
Indrajimna Swami and Kadamba Swami were in the audience. And at the end of that drama, Indrajimna Swami was in tears.
Yeah.
And that's what an artist is. An artist is somebody who is able to invoke an emotion or bring an emotion out alive. And I want to ask you, how do you do it?
It's all motivated by the people in my life. It's all motivated by the woman in my life as well. I mean, meeting Rukmini, she was there when I was 5 years old and being baby Krishna as well. She was also in that play, but it really comes from the true when someone has that faith in you to do that. Um, I don't know if Masha is here,
She
but
is.
I'm definitely going to speak about her specifically. Is that I have always had a little bit of a difficult or anxious relationship with kirtan and singing, and I never thought ever that I could actually do that, that I could sing. I never thought that my voice was worthy, or good, or I never thought I was capable of it until I had this she completely believed in me. She knew I could do it. And that's the only reason I did it, is because she
Wow.
pulled me in and she knew I could do it. And so I think it comes from the real faith that others have in me and everything that others see in me. Like Rasa-sthali, when you tell me, okay, Giri, I want you to take charge of this, I want you to, do that. Like that faith that you have in me motivates me to say, okay, you know what, this person believes in me, I can do it. And then the other side of it is that um I really just want to use every single part of my body and my mind and just everything to serve and in devotional service. And the realization that Krishna is going to accept me even when I'm imperfect in it, even when I make the mistakes, even when I mess up on the stage. It's okay because Krishna is still smiling back at me. And during that whole rehearsal time, sitting in the temple, having that opportunity to, because we were going to do it in the amphitheater, but
Well,
then, of
just bring
course,
everybody up to speed. What are you speaking about exactly?
okay, so I'm speaking about um, Bhakti Theatre here, our little local community theatre that we have, and at Shri Shri Radhanath, we actually have an open air kind of stage place that we usually do our performances on. And every single time, this always happens that by some reason it rains or it's too windy or something, and then we have to go upstairs and perform it in the temple, and we just scramble and go on. We're like, okay, it doesn't matter, the lights, whatever, we're just gonna do it. But the deeper understanding there is that Krishna wants to see it. Rather not, they want to see it. They want to be there with us. They want to join in the party and the celebrations and the mood. And and specifically in the last Bhakti Theatre that we had in May, where I sang in public for the first time in my life, um, I had those few days of rehearsals where Marsha and I kept practicing, um, and it was in the temple in front of the deities. And I thought, I'm not just singing once to Krishna on the performance day. I've been singing to him throughout this whole week, rehearsing and making the mistakes, but he's still been there taking it and listening to me and smiling at me. And I had this moment where we were doing, maybe it was the dress rehearsal the night before, and Marsha was standing there, and just behind Marsha, I was like looking at her, and then I was looking at Krishna, and I was singing to Krishna, and I felt this complete peace and acceptance from him that it's okay, whatever your voice is, whatever your talent is, whatever, if you're giving it to me, I'm smiling and I'm taking it. It's not about everyone else and what everyone else thinks of you. It's just, I accept you. I'm gonna love you anyway. And like looking at him and his face and feeling so emotional while singing to him, it was like a complete like, it's okay. I can do anything. I can serve Krishna in any way, and he's gonna love me for it still. And yeah, it's those two things. It's that faith that people have in me, and it's that acceptance of Krishna in my imperfections that that keep me going and keep me artistic in some way. Because yeah, being an artist is always, especially with painting
It's
and
torture,
drawing, it's
torture.
like you're never going to ever be happy with it. Like how, who was it? Maybe it was Picasso or Leonardo da Vinci. I think it was Leonardo da Vinci that said, um, a painting is never finished, only abandoned. So it's like you never ever feel like you're completely perfect in anything that you do. You're always going to feel like, because that's the material nature, you're always going to feel like that, you can do better, you can do better. But then getting into that mentality is like, you just end up not doing anything, become complacent. I
Mhm.
can't do it, I can't do it. And that's what we often say to ourselves. Um, the self-doubt comes in, the belief that we won't be able to. But then that realization that it's okay, God is going to love you and accept you even in your imperfect stages, even when it's not complete, because you know Om Purnam Ada Purnamidam, you know Krishna says, like, well, it says that verse says, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has perfectly and completely equipped you for this life. So whatever you have, you are completely equipped, and you just have to tap into that internal state. and realize that you are perfectly and completely equipped with everything you need. Just do it. You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
You've silenced me. Um, so
Yeah.
Giri, you touched on something that I would like to ask a little bit more about because
Okay.
I've actually also been praying like this a little bit.
Mm.
Um, the perception or actually perceiving that Krishna is with us.
Mm.
Um, and I mean, you sort of touched on this here, and I want to ask you, how do you experience that? How do you, like, of course, there's a clear indication when you were in your rehearsal and you were singing for Krishna, but are there
Hmm.
other times where you feel like, yes, Krishna's here, he's guiding me? How do you perceive that Krishna is really in my life, is not an abstract of, concept?
I think we often underestimate our intuitive power because that intuitive power that we have is actually Krishna speaking to us, the super soul speaking to us. Um, so, I mean, I see Yogini is asking there, how do you deal with the silence of Krishna? And that's part of it. Krishna is actually never silent. When you listen, when you really go into yourself and hear that intuitive voice that's constantly moving you into a certain direction, it's Krishna. It's the super soul. It's him inside you that's guiding you. And like often we think, okay, this because we've been conditioned to think this. Uh, I'm having this personal issue as well where, you know, the self-doubt definitely comes in there. Those negative recurring thoughts come in there where we constantly don't believe that we're capable and worthy and we victimize ourselves. But trust your intuitive power because that's Krishna speaking through you and to you personally. That's your interaction with him. That's how I've felt guided. Um, when injustices happen to you in your life and things like that, when there's some traumatic experience or whatever, and then there's something telling you something is wrong when you're dealing with a person, a difficult person, or in many situations, there's something that's kind of in the back of your head telling you this is right, this is wrong, you know, and it's never fully black and white. It's never fully right and wrong because there's no actual real right and wrong. Everyone does things um according to how they need to grow. So if they make a decision and someone else may perceive that it's wrong and incorrect, but for them it's the right way because it's helping them grow. They may have to hurt someone to do it or something like that, but it's the way they grow. But it's that it still comes back to that intuitive power that's telling you it may be, it may come as sometimes a bodily reaction because yeah, we are in the material world, but it's psychologically something is happening, and then it can also appear physically as physical symptoms, but it's still Krishna. It's still Krishna kind of guiding you and telling you, like, um I think when you really deeply pray, and I've done this in front of Radhanath so many times where I've just stood in front of them and said, please give me clarity, you know. And then there's these, Krishna brings you people, Krishna brings you voices, Krishna speaks through others as well. And, you know, when you're going through a difficult time and then suddenly someone calls you and starts talking to you, and then you find that something this person says is just, wow. And those are signs that Krishna is there. He's not leaving you alone. He's not silent. He's not quiet. He may speak through others. He may speak through you as intuition and through Shastra. I mean, that's what's got me through this entire year is, reading Bhagavad Gita, reading Bhagavatam with my dad. As you go closer and closer to Krishna, you'll see more and more in the tests that he's giving you, in the growing pains, because you sometimes it may be tough, tough love, but it's there in the tests, in the little, he removes things from your life, and you just have to be able to see it in that way. It's a kind of a change and a shift of consciousness to be able to see it. But I think, yeah, the more you tap into it and the more you move closer to Krishna, yeah, he's gonna show you that he's not leaving you. Hope that makes sense. But yeah.
I think it definitely is. So, Giri, there's quite a bit of comments and questions. So you just talk and I will read them out to you, okay?
Okay. Okay.
Um, okay, so I'll just comment on Leela Shukha's, I'll just read out Leela Shukha's comment. That's profound. Our intuitive voice is Krishna. All right. Then I'm going to come back to Jai Radhika's question because it's a little bit different from what you just spoke about. But Shakti's
Yeah.
question is more in line with what you just spoke about, so we'll cover that one.
Hmm.
Things are not always easy. How do we deal with the judgment of others when we are going through that fall down?
Well, I mean, the first thing that's coming to my mind right now is something that Sri Radha Govinda said to me when I asked her the question, like, we sometimes harshly judge ourselves, especially in, I mean, maybe this is not directly answering your question. I can go a little bit on a tangent sometimes, but I asked her the question, how do you deal with manipulation? How do you deal with sort of, someone's energy that comes onto you that's so negative? How do you identify it and how do you deal with it? And the thing that she said to me was something so profound because it works in so many situations. And she said, um, the only way that you can avoid like manipulation, or the only way that you'll be manipulated anyway, is because you have low self-worth. And so I think that with judgment specifically, you need to grow your self-worth, because when your self-worth is strong enough, whatever anyone is going to say to you, it's not going to matter. It's not going to
Mm,
matter. A psychiatrist once said to me, okay, if I go to the shop and I want to buy bread, and you know the cash teller thinks I'm annoying. The teller thinks, oh, I'm annoying, and I'm going there to buy bread, and she's like, oh yeah, you're so annoying. Um, I mean, you're still gonna buy the bread anyway, and you're gonna leave. And are you gonna feel something about the cash teller? Is it gonna bother you? Is it gonna worry you? Is it gonna play on your mind? Possibly not, because does that person mean something to you? So I think judgment, I think it always affects us when it comes from people that mean something to you personally. But if it's coming from someone that is irrelevant in your life, you don't need to take it to heart. And often judgment happens because that person needs to grow themselves. That
mm.
person is having a difficulty with their own issues and their own insecurities, and it's just a projection onto you. So, I mean, that's kind of my comment on that, if that helps. I hope that helps, Shakti.
So Giri, let's talk about judgment a little bit because something that's
Mm-hmm.
come up intermittently but regularly is
Mm-hmm.
judgment from women. And look, we are the women's collective, so obviously we're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
And of course, we're trying to learn that we don't actually have to judge each other. So you're a young woman, and from what you've said, you've obviously gotten quite a lot of support from women in your life. What can you say? Have you been judged by women? How did you deal with it? what is your advice to step away from a non-judgmental situation? Yeah, yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
Um, Personally, yes. When I was younger, I have got judged a lot because um, in the area and environment that I live in, I was usually the only bhakti yogi, the only, devotee, Hare Krishna devotee, the only vegetarian, the only this, the only that, and it's always been a thing, people judging you for your identity, basically. Um, yes, it's always hurtful, and I've never really dealt with it properly before. But when you, I think it's only been in the past couple of years, especially being so involved in the women's collective and seeing the strong woman examples and how they really have dealt with it in the past, that makes me stronger. That makes me realize that I can have my own voice and speak up when I feel judged. Um, and that, um, I mean, I guess when you're judged, what is it actually that you feel when you're judged? Embarrassment. But I guess maybe there's embarrassment, or I'm trying to think of like what is that feeling that you feel when you judge? Maybe I can ask you that. What
I
are the
would say,
feelings that come up when you feel judged by someone? Yeah.
okay. So, I personally think that it has a lot to do with not being somebody doesn't accept me unless I am. They don't accept me for who I am. That's when somebody's judging me. They're judging me because I'm not what they want me to be. So
Want you to be. You're not
yeah,
the version that they want
yeah, yeah.
you to be. And so
Of course, Giri, I just
it's
need
gonna
to
be,
put in
uh,
this
yeah,
disclaimer
yeah.
before we go on. But those kind of
Okay,
things, like judgments, are like
it's a tough
I
one.
no, no. For me, well, listen, when it's directed towards me generally, I
Yeah,
I I don't give it any power.
any power.
No, because
Then
as
that's
as
perfect.
you very nicely pointed out, it's
Yeah,
their version of me, not me.
yeah, not you.
This,
And in
sorry,
yeah.
Surabhi is just saying her comment is not being valued. That's how she feels when she's being judged.
Mm-hmm.
She's not being valued.
Yeah. Judgment is a very scary thing, especially when it comes into the community and that you trust so much. But I think it's definitely, as you say, you haven't given it any power, and it comes from practice, because initially it does happen. You're going to feel a little bit wounded by it, but you have to practice that within yourself to value yourself enough that when those people judge you, that it's not going to affect you. I mean, I don't know if that makes any sense, but as Sarabi is saying, you're not being valued, but that's because you have to value yourself. The value shouldn't come externally. I mean, yes, you are going to be complimented and it's going to make you feel nice sometimes when you are complimented and everything, but then suddenly, oh, but this person thinks I'm, you know, not such a nice person. But why does it matter? Why does it matter? You know who you are. I've been called names before. I've been made to feel small before, but I realize that's not me. That is not me. So if I know who I am within myself, then as you just said, then you don't give that judgment power over you. It's like once I was in a lecture, I missed a test. The lecturer kind of sent me a very nasty email and then made an example of me in class. Like, oh, don't be like this, there's a student here in this class, don't be like this, don't be like that. Of course, I felt judged. But it's especially when it's being judged in the bodily concept, because intelligence has nothing to do with what's on the piece of paper, what your mark is, at campus, whatever your result is. No, it's not what your intelligence is. Um, and we're always being judged, always, constantly, especially with my degree at the moment, feeling that constant low all the time because, I didn't get the correct mark. And then you judge yourself too. That's also another whole thing. But but then when you realize who you are and you realize where your intelligence comes from, where your talents come from, where you come from, that you are a spark of Krishna and you are perfect and complete, and you are, I mean, I was telling Mersha recently, the most attractive person in the world loves you. The most attractive person ever, the supreme personality of Godhead, loves you. How special are you? So, what does it mean if someone else judges you? He thinks you're amazing. The most attractive person, the most beautiful person, so as Rasa-sthali said, don't let those judgments, don't give it power over you.
So, Giri, I'm just going to read some
Yeah.
comments. There's some
Okay.
amazing comments here. Marsha is saying, don't receive criticism too seriously from someone who has not also offered you support. Yeah, that's a big one because, it also, I think that sort of tells you where's it coming from,
Yeah.
you know. Then Manjari says, as a student, I appreciated that so much. I literally reached out to hug the screen.
Hugging you back, Manjari.
So, Giri, tell us about your Shiros, your Bhakti Shiros,
Wow.
and why they're your Shiros.
My ultimate Shiro is my mother. My mother, yeah, she's the strongest woman I know. Yes, we fight all the time. What to do? Um, you know, Hemlata Mataji was saying, Hemlata was saying the other day when I was speaking to her that, parents and stuff are always put together because of karma. It's your karma. And so, yes, you're going to fight, you're going to have trouble. But I can tell you that when my mother prays for something, it's going to happen. And she has that deep, you know, I know she has a deep relationship with Krishna. She may not always speak and say it in the right way. And but when I hear from other devotees and how she is served, I mean, of course, at the moment she can't serve as much as she would have liked to. But I've grown up watching her grow up in Krishna consciousness because my mother was a baptized Christian, and and I've got both sides of the coin. I've got the understanding of Christianity, and my mother always says to me, you know, I feel like I'm a better Christian now, you know, after learning so much about Krishna consciousness. And yeah, that's why she is the person I look up to. I think the woman I look up to the most. Her strength in every single situation that she's had to deal with, the abuse that she's gone through in her life, um, she just doesn't take it from anybody, you know. She has, she's been that version. Like when I go through all the pictures of my mother from back then to now, she's had like every hairstyle in the book. She's for the longest time she's had short Italian boy haircut and everything. So when I look at that and I think, my mother's never been the typical traditional kind of version woman that everyone wanted her to be. She's been whatever she's wanted to be always in her life. And she's always pushed me to feel the same way. You don't need makeup, you don't need perfect hairstyles, you don't need to have long hair, you don't need to have short hair, you don't need to be anything. You just need to be you because you are beautiful, and that's why she's my Shiro. With her illness, she has powered through it with faith, you know, and that is amazing to me, because she always says, I was 8 years old when she was diagnosed, and she thought, what am I going to do? You know, I'm going to leave this 8-year-old kid alone without a mother, motherless. But guess what? It's like 10, 15 years later, she's still alive. When the doctor told her she was going to die, she's still alive now, and she lives for serving her family. And I think people often also underestimate that devotional service is also serving your family. It's not only going on the altar and doing puja and, like higher services and all that stuff. If you're serving your family, that's also serving Krishna.
Mm.
And that is the most powerful thing.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah. I mean, I truly believe that. Because many times people feel, because my mother had to turn down service. She had to turn down cooking for the Lord. But she's still serving Krishna through serving us. And that's why she's kept her strength and her faith. And I think in everything, in every relationship as well, um, with your partner, serving your partner is serving Krishna, you know? It doesn't mean that, okay, I've turned down the service now because I needed to spend more time with my partner. No, you're serving a part of Krishna. Being there for your partner means serving Krishna too. So, yeah, I truly believe that. Yeah.
Wow, that's powerful. Is there anybody else you'd like to give a nod to?
Well, of course, you,
No,
my
ma'am.
special
I mean,
Rasa-sthali.
I'm just,
No, but
no,
of
you're not
course,
allowed. No, you're
but
not allowed
really,
to talk about
nah,
me. You
oh.
can talk about somebody else. Please, please.
Um, okay, so this unknown person that has taken charge of so many things, and has blessed me with so many opportunities to serve Krishna. That is that is the ultimate service, is creating opportunity for others. And I wouldn't be here without this. I wouldn't be talking to you right now if it wasn't for this other unknown person that's on this call with me here. But the amount of opportunity that I've had to serve Krishna has come very much because of you, Rasa-sthali, and it really has. Um, in so many aspects of my life, I would think, yeah, this is such a strong, powerful woman that has inspired me constantly throughout my life from the time I was young, seeing how you push through all the hurdles in your life as well has given me strength. Of course, Rukmini and Marsha and everyone here. I mean, Surabi, who has so much of, she says she's my fangirl. I mean, that's my inspiration. That's my motivation. When people believe in me, all of you are my sheroes. And like, I take a little piece of everybody into my heart, and I learn something new. And maybe you may feel like often we do that to ourselves, where we feel, oh, we're not qualified enough, we can't speak up, we can't, like, because I was feeling that before this phone call. I was thinking, wow, I've listened to so many of these women collectors, is how I met my sisters, talks, and I think, what can I say that's going to help someone else? But everyone here who I've had these personal interactions with, you know, just one or two major conversations, they've taught me so much. And so I can't, it's very difficult to say that there's specific people in my life who are sheroes to me, that are like topmost to me, because I take it from
Mm,
everyone,
mm,
you know. Um, and of course, Mother Sudharma, Mother Rambaru, who's powering through with this psychological training to train people. That's like my ultimate goal. Like, I want to be her, So she definitely is a huge inspiration to me. Um, just her complete resilience in everything, um, that
Yeah,
ability to,
sorry,
yeah,
Giri, to
yes, yes,
interject about Rambaru Prabhu. She, for me, is somebody who saw a need and carved a niche. And she's created a little oasis
yeah,
for so many devotees and people. So I hear you.
yeah. I mean, I was actually, before I heard about Karuna Care, I was like, I was talking to, and I'm always talking to people. I talk to so many people. So yeah, I'm talking to another friend of mine, another sister, and we were discussing, how can we do this? I want to do this, for South African women. I want to help. How do I start this in ISKCON specifically in our community to bring psychological mental health topics in? I mean, that very soon, hopefully, we're going to have that discussion about menstruation as well. There was also another big thing that came through my research and my master's
Well, that was
program.
you. That's all you, Giri. That was your topic. Yeah, so for
Like,
those of you that are a little bit lost about this, we, as you know, we have a YouTube series called The Protection Paradigm, and our next episode is going to be on menstruation. And it's quite a broad topic. We're going to be covering the history, the Vaishnav behavior, Vaishnav attitudes, the science, um, to sustainable green ways of dealing with menstruation. And this topic was actually brought to us by Giri. So, Giri, I'm sure you could say a lot more about it. So, share.
yeah, I want to reframe the perception of mental health in our community. Because what is the science of self-realization really? When I was in first year psychology, and I was trying to think, why is Krishna bringing me psychology? I feel attracted and passionate about this, this career path, but why do I have it? And then there was this lecture on, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are aware of Maslow's hierarchy of needs and all of that, survival, blah, blah, blah. And then it comes to what is the highest, the tip of the pyramid is self-actualization. And I'm thinking, okay, they call it self-actualization, but yeah, this is in our Shastra. This is self-realization. This is what it is. This is the highest absolute knowledge, and being now a researcher, psychologist, and I was thinking like, yeah, it's all there. Krishna consciousness is one big kind of study, right? We have our methods, we have our practices, we have our theory. If people have been to university, when you have to do your thesis, there's all these things that you have to tick the boxes in, and it's all there. But I think personally for me, what I want to bring to the woman community and to the ISKCON community at large is just to reframe mental health, reframe menstruation, reframe there's no need for that shame that we have about it because it's not talked about, reframe depression and like openly when you're openly encouraged to talk about it, then you can actually understand yourself more, you know when you're open about it, when you're honest about it, and then you can be honest with yourself about it. When you see others being honest about it, you can be honest with yourself about it. And I think, yes, it is a huge internal thing, but if it's not talked about at all, then when it's completely like overlooked and not talked about, then it doesn't like occur to young women who haven't even been through menstruation yet. It doesn't occur to them that this is what's going to happen. because we've been so conditioned. Our parents have been conditioned. There's obviously the generational conditioning, that it's something that we shouldn't talk about. We should hide it. It should like just keep it here. And I mean, it's like when you wake up in the temple and you think, oh gosh, I've got my period, and oh, could I be missed? Could I not be missed? Embarrassment. Oh my gosh, and you have to quietly like whisper to your friend, like, can you please like check if I'm okay, if I'm good? Like, why do we feel so scared? So scared. I was in front of the temple one day when someone from my school, a girl from my school, came to the temple. It was a Janmashtami program, I think it was, and she came and she wanted to come inside because her parents brought her to the temple. She's a non-devotee, but she was standing outside, and I noticed her. I was like, hey, you can come in with me. Don't feel bad. She's like, I can't come in. I'm like, why can't you come into the temple? I got my period. It's like, but you can still come into the temple. I mean, I actually have my period right now. I'm gonna go inside the temple. Like, where's the perception that you're not allowed to come into the temple and even just take darshan of the Lord because you got your period? So complete misconception that the world has, our community in South Africa has, of menstruation, that you can't even step inside the temple, that some people actually feel that you can't do that. And then it occurred to me, this is a problem. This is a problem that people who want to experience Krishna consciousness can't because they're so scared. Oh, just because of menstruation, like I can't step into the temple. So yeah, I
So
sorry I
Giri,
went off there,
just
but
no,
yeah.
that's good. I think a lot of people feel passionately about that, and I think there are a lot of people who feel passionately about that on the other side. That if you do have your period, then you definitely shouldn't be coming to the temple. And
Hmm.
we're going to cover that in our
Yeah,
on our YouTube series, the protection paradigm,
definitely.
which is the menstruation topic.
Hmm.
And I think what you're trying to say is that bhakti is not inhibited by any external situation, and that's the
Absolutely
truly
not.
unique, beautiful thing about bhakti.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
completely. I completely agree.
I just want to go to some of the comments. You've been getting quite a bit of
Okay,
conversation going on here. So Priya Kishore is saying you're very inspiring. And Shama Radhika is saying you speak with power and poise. Thank you for your kind
thank you
and
so
inspiring
much.
words, Giri. Lots of love. Um, Lamia says, Giri, my love, you are my rock star. And
Thank you,
Gorby has
Lumis.
just waved to us and said hello. Um, so Giri, one of the things that okay, from my perspective, I have noticed that you have a lot of women that are your age, and you guys seem to have like a real camaraderie. And what I'd like to know from you is what has that done for you? Just having all these young women there,
Hmm.
because I don't feel a mood of competition between you ladies. I feel that sense of strengthening one another. And how did you guys get there? Because let's face it, women tend to be very competitive. Um, but there's a lot of sharing and there's a lot of shared space going on with you and your people. So tell me about that.
Well, I mean, it's not really me personally I mean, it's all of us really. I think when you serve together with certain people and you learn about each other and you accept each other fully for any in any mood that you're in. We have this little thing that it's like, it's fine. You can be in anxiety and I'm going to be there for you. You can be irritable and in a mood today, but it's fine. I'm still going to be there for you and I'm still going to love you because you're my soul sister. Then that's what it's about. Because yes, it's very difficult to get to that stage, but I've experienced this with so many of the people that are my age. And when you have that spiritual, or when you're able to just be yourself, it's so important to just be able to just be yourself in whatever crazy way that you're going to be, in whatever you're going to say, knowing that, again, bringing up judgment, knowing that you're not going to be judged. That's that's where it comes from. I mean, Surabi and Gorabhumi and Marsha and Tara and Yashoda, uh, you know, like even with Rukmini, you, Rasa, I mean, just all of us together, when we speak to each other, I think we have the ability to cry with each other, to be angry with each other, to to know that, okay, I'm going through this difficult time. I need to completely shut away from the world, because I do that a lot, go into the hermit phase. But when that friendship is so, when it's developed, because it's one of the principles of bhakti, right? It's one of the 9 principles, is to maintain relationships and maintain friendships. And when you take it seriously, that, you know what, this person, I haven't heard from her in a long time. I'm checking in on you. Are you okay? Is everything going okay? It's so important, just that one phone call, just that one message to someone to make you realize, I've got your back, you know, I've got your back. Even when as Yogi was saying, Yogeshwari was saying that, the silence, sometimes you can disconnect. Sometimes you can feel disconnected from Krishna. Sometimes you can feel disconnected from your spiritual community. But when you have a person that is going to message you and bring you back and pull you back, and again, from what I said in the very beginning, it's going to hold your hand and walk home with you. That's what it's about. That's what the sisterhood is about, you know? Um, when you're falling down, that person's going to turn around and say, I'm here. I'm not going to leave you behind. I'm going to pick you up. We're going to go together. That's what it's about. Um, is that is just that one message, just that one, just to reach out. And also, it works the other way around too. When you're struggling, reach out. And that's why when we have that understanding that we can reach out to each other and not be judged for it, and just have complete whatever conversation with no boundaries, just whatever, then yeah, then that's real sisterhood, I think. So,
So Giri, you've said something really important, and not everybody's blessed like you, that they can reach out and not be judged. And for those people who may be struggling, or they reach out and their fingers get burned, what is your advice to them?
mhm.
Like, would you just say, just keep reaching out, trying different people, try strange? What would you say to them?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, um, you see, it comes from that whole, okay, so in chapter 9, I think I've spoken about this before when it comes to confidentiality, right? Because that's important. Confidentiality is important. Um, and it works with that authenticity. And when we had that session on authenticity and confidentiality, I spoke about this as well, where in chapter 9, that first verse, yes, you want to
I
say
was just
something?
going to say, people are not going to know what we're talking about.
Okay, so chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita, um, it speaks on confidentiality. It speaks on the topic of confidentiality, and Krishna um, says in the first verse, in the first text, he says that he speaks to his dearest friend Arjuna, and he says, um, I'm giving you this most confidential knowledge because you are non-envious of me. And I thought that that was the most powerful thing I've ever heard, because I realized that you can be truly authentic and speak your true mind to people when you realize that they are non-envious people. And so as you're speaking about competition and competitiveness, you know, because there's no competitiveness between us, because there's no enviousness between us, we're just here to help each other grow. So that's why we can be confidential. So it has to, obviously, yes, you have to be careful of who you speak to sometimes, and you have to be careful of that same. You have to know that I can only be confidential with people that are non-envious of me. When you start to get to know people and you see that no, their nature, their energy is a little bit negative towards you, and then it's that intuitive power again. Intuitively, you will know, you will feel it. No, you know what? Maybe not. And yes, sometimes you get burnt. I've got burnt. You try again. You have to try again. For your own
Yeah, I think I
sanity,
think
you
I
have to
think
try again. Yeah.
I think the important thing is to not give up because you've been burnt. Don't stop.
And that's
Yeah.
what resilience is, you know? I mean, I think Mother Rambaru speaks about resilience, and Mother Sudharma speaks about resilience a lot, but they, yeah, have a lot. I mean, I'm not sure if any of our YouTube videos have covered resilience yet, but yeah, it comes from that. But it comes from feeling protected in your space with these people, and it also comes from the non-enviousness that we have with each other. So
Mhm. Mhm.
yeah.
Giri, as I'm listening to you speaking, I'm trying to think, how did you actually come to this place? And
Hmm.
look, from me, from the outside, I'm thinking that you've come to your circle, to your people, to your tribe by serving with them. Am I
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And
so
yeah.
carry on, please.
Yeah, I mean, I have many friendships that are with people that are also non-devotees, and they also form part of my tribe as well. And I mean, I don't think that you necessarily have to, they have to be, because when your consciousness is different, and when you see how you're serving constantly for Krishna in every part, in every aspect, even the relationships that you develop outside of your spiritual community, um, is still important, and is still friendship, and it's still part of your service. It's still part of maintaining your friendships, even if that person is a non-devotee. Because I have many non-devotee friends as well. I have Christian friends, I have Hindu friends, I have Muslim friends who have guided me through a lot of my time in university, and they've become such dear, dear people to me. And but also, again, it's because I can speak about my spiritual journey. They can speak about their spiritual journey, and we don't judge each other. We're not saying your spiritual journey is wrong and it's incorrect, and the way you serve your God, or it's your God, it's my God, no. When you have this complete understanding with each other that you can serve with people even from different faiths,
Mm.
that's also important, I think. Because, yeah, my best friend is not a Hare Krishna devotee, but she's my best friend. And she's not envious of me. So, um, I didn't only come to this place of understanding, yes, through, but I mean the main development is it's internal, and it's making that effort. Like, I think it was Balaram Prabhu that said, yeah, we can constantly depend on Krishna all the time, um, but in certain situations we have to make the effort too,
Yeah.
because that effort is important. That effort, making that effort towards Krishna, is important. Making that effort towards learning more about God is important. So it doesn't matter what faith you're in, but when you're making the effort to be a more conscious, self-realized person who is non-judgmental, non-envious, then you can develop those deep relationships and come to that position where you can be completely and authentic with yourself and with others. Then yeah, that's
Wow.
what works in the sisterhood.
You know what's resonating with me really loudly is
Yeah.
non-judgmental, and I have to say that from what I know, from how I know you, it's very true. That's why people, I feel, accepted in your company because I don't feel judged. And I think that you are revealing a secret here to each one of us that if you want to create safety for yourself and for others, become that, become
You have to
non-judgmental.
be the person. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to start with you. You have to become that person that you hope people will be towards you. You have to do the things that you want people to do for you. When I'm struggling, I know when I feel like alone and isolated, and when I'm struggling and I want someone to call me, there's definitely someone else out there that would want the same thing. So if you want that, you got to be that for someone else. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, you're not alone. Frida Kahlo says, I used to think I'm the strangest person in the world, but I know somewhere out there there's another woman that's feeling the exact same way. So I'm actually not alone, you know. Yeah. So another of my sheroes, but yeah, Frida Kahlo.
Oh, thank
But
you.
yeah. um, but yeah, it comes with a lot of listening, listening to yourself, listening, having that, honing in those skills, and treating people the way you want to be treated.
Mm.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Giri, for sharing so much of your heart and experience with us today. I um, I I know we've gone a bit over time, but Jai Radhika did ask a question earlier on, which was a little bit
Okay.
um, it went a little bit off what we were discussing. But if you can
Mhm.
quickly answer that for her, I think
Okay.
she'd really
Mhm.
appreciate it. She says, "What is it in your childhood that made you want to love this process and want to practice it on such a deep, inspirational level?" And she's asking it as a mother.
You know, it came a lot from my parents. So as a mother, um, and my parents, from the time I was, they've allowed me every opportunity to serve. As I told you, my first service was playing baby Krishna, at like 5 and 6 years old, and that's because, you know, Krishna Chandra just ran in and stopped the car while my parents were in the car, like, um, you know, will you let your daughter play Krishna in our play? God is, we're doing this play, and my parents were like, okay, yeah, sure. And from then it just started. Okay, you know, they are not people who are in the front line. They're not people who go, who do things like that. But they allowed me to do it. They allowed me to serve the way I want to serve. And I think it's letting your children do that and not stopping that process. My dad, you know, um, storytelling is so important for my childhood, because that was that was how I learned, is because my dad's one of the best storytellers, and he'd always make it so exciting. All these, so I guess it's really Krishna's pastimes as a child that attracted me, because even when I was a kid and I grew up in the temple environment, every Sunday I was there, you know, and maybe I never was in the class or listening to the lectures, but I was out there. I don't know if Darshana is here. I think I saw her join as well. Tara. We would go out there on those grass patches and do our own dramas and plays and be Krishna and Radha and things like that. And that's what made it so special, as a child, to understand Krishna through that, through his pastimes, through it's the easiest way as a kid to really do that. Yeah,
Mm, mm.
that's what
Wow.
attracted me the most. I guess it's still attracting me right now, to be in Krishna's pastimes. So yeah.
Mm. Charadika, I hope that satisfies you. Gary, so we've been at it for an hour.
Okay.
There is actually something else that I wanted to ask, but I don't know. I think we've gone on too long. How does everybody feel? Should we say goodbye now, or should I ask my last question? It's a good one. Let me just tell you all. No response. So I guess we can
Okay.
close. Okay. So, Girisha, thank you so much for coming on board and agreeing to do this. I'm so happy. I have to tell you that I'm so proud of you. Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
Suravi says, you're still the cutest baby Krishna. Jai Radhika responds to your answer. She says, perfect, thank you. You are really a powerful, inspirational young woman. One lady says, I
Thank
must
you.
ask my question.
That's my best friend, by the way.
Oh, okay. So let me ask my question
Yeah.
then. Um, uh, so, Giri, you have acted as
Yeah.
Krishna, and as people are saying, you were the cutest, and you have been adorable as Krishna.
Thank you.
And I've been involved in drama for a long time, and I've seen many devotees act as Krishna and other transcendental personalities. And you have also acted as Srimati Radharani. Um, and I wanted to ask you because one devotee once told me that it's very, very hard to act as well. He acts as Krishna, and he says like Krishna is so
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, what is it like to act as Srimati Radharani? Because for those of us that are theatre people, we know we had a couple years ago a really spectacular drama in the temple where you were Radharani. It was Radhadasya. We talk. Oh, there you go, Surabi Radhadasya.
Number one fan. Yeah.
Totally. So tell us what it is like to act as Srimati Radharani. I mean, I've been involved in drama for a long time. Do you know,
Mhm.
I cannot imagine how you guys do that. And let us in.
Okay. So when Rukmini said, like we were talking about the drama, like Rukmini always talks to me. Rukmini is our script writer, by the way. So she wrote the script and she was talking to me about it, like how she talks to me about every script. And then she says, like, yeah, yeah, no, 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 actually, I'm talking to you about it because, like, I want you to be Radha. It's like, um, I don't think I can do this. Like I know like me playing Radharani, that's a lot because I'm used to playing Krishna. For me, Krishna is like I can be a cowherd boy. I can wear the turban and the dhoti and I can do that. That is like the most fun for me. But playing Srimati Radharani, you know, it was one of the hardest roles I've ever had to play because her mood is so unique. She's not harsh, but she's also, you know, um, she also can give it too. Like she's also feisty, but it's also like, I'm so glad that I had the devotees there, like Tara playing Lalita, because
She was so
they,
feisty.
those are expansions of Radha's mood, because I couldn't understand personally what her mood was, and as an actor, like that's what I like to do. Like Krishna's mood, yeah, I understand. He's cute and naughty and fun and crazy, mischievous, and I've been used to doing that because I was doing that from a young age. But then playing Radha was completely new, and I actually really struggled with it, and every time, like during all the rehearsals, I would say, Meaning, I don't think I can do this. I don't think that, um, I mean, this role is so difficult. Radha's, I don't know how to play Radha. Like, she's got so much, and when you feel it coming on you, she's got so much of potency. It's so strong that you really want to represent her in the best way, and throughout, up until the last moment, I still felt that I was not going to portray her in the best way. But when I was there, it was almost like when I stepped into the temple in my Spanish outfit and saw Radha Radhanath in their Spanish outfits, I was like, she wants me to do this. She's saying, thumbs up, this is how I wanted it. You got this. And I can't remember. To be honest, on that day I can't fully remember how I did it because I didn't feel like it was me. I felt I felt her. I've never felt closer to her than that day. But it was like it's the same as when I played Draupadi. It's like there's not a lot that I can fully remember because it just comes over you. But that day, because it happened once, it was a one time. Radha Dasya was like a one time thing. It was not me. I can't explain it, but I know that it was not me. That it was something else that completely took over my mood, and I just did it in that mood. And throughout the time, it was just constantly meditating on, let me serve you, Radha, in the best way. Let me serve you in the best way. Let me portray you in the best way. I think that's kind of what it's about as an actor. You have to really meditate on that role, you know. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us. For those of you that were fortunate enough to watch that drama, um, I guess it would have more meaning to hear Giri's answer.
It's Krishna
Um,
magic, as we say in Bhakti theater.
yeah.
It just
So,
happens.
sorry.
Yeah. It just happens. It's always the stress, and then it just on the day, it's just Krishna and Radha take over. Radhanath, particularly Radhanath, take over. Yeah,
Mm, mm.
yeah.
So, Giri, my heart feels raised up, and I feel like I have wings today. And thank you for that. Thank you for your time. Thank you all so much for your comments and the love, so much love that you've shared during this interview. I really love spending this time with every one of you. And Giri, you were wonderful. You're lovely.
Thank you so much.
Next week, we are going to be talking to Radha Radhanath. Not not the deities. I'm not quite there yet. They're not talking deities. Radha Radhanath Dasi, who lives at Sri Sri Radha Radhanath Temple. We will be talking to her. So it's going to happen next week at the same time, same place. Before we say goodbye, Giri, do you have any last words to share with us?
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity, Rasa-sthali. Thank you for always allowing women to share their voices, no matter what it is that they have to say. Thank you for allowing this space and this sharing. And yeah, thank you all for joining, and my love to all of you. Stay blessed.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. So, Giri just reminded me about something. We would love to talk to everybody. Please, please send me a message if you would like to talk, have a chat here. This is not about ego. It's not about, oh, I'm pushing myself forward. We're here trying to build our community. So please share a little bit of yourself so that we can all love each other a little bit more And message me, tell me you'd love to be featured, and we'd add you to our calendar. And everybody wants to hear from you, even if you think that you've got nothing to say. It's amazing when you're here and you're sharing your heart and how you touch somebody. Yeah.
Marsha, I'm waiting for you, huh? I'm waiting to hear yours.
Yeah, we're going to feature you. And please,
Okay.
please, please message me. Don't feel shy. This is not a platform to feel shy on. And thank you all so much. We'll see you next Friday, same time, same place. And we're going to be talking to Radhanath. Bye bye, and lots of love, and
Hare
have a
Krishna.
wonderful Janamashtami festival. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.